Hey, what's up, Big Sexies of Retro? Of course, we are doing another deck that people submitted to me, and this was Paul Maurillo's list. He wanted, or it's not his list rather, but his submission, and he wanted me to take. Well, he wanted my own take on Ascension Broly, and so this is kind of what I came up with. I was talking to Ryan O'Malley a little bit while I was building it, kind of taking some thoughts, thinking a lot about like Broly. It was all going to be the new stack Broly. Thinking a lot about his level 2 and into his 3. I didn't put too much emphasis on a lot of the rejuvenation cards. I think like a lot of people may want to build them. Like Pycon is a lot of that rejuvenation theme. Maybe Broly would work good with that. I'm sure he would, obviously, but I think what I have here is a decent start. Now there are a couple combos and things that I had initially in the list just to look at, and I'm cutting out just because I think they would have been clutter. And I'll bring those up. I'll bring those up at the end. But we'll start off, of course, we got the Ascension Mastery and the whole new the set 11 Broly stack here. I'm sorry, the set 12 Broly stack here. Of course, the movie collection too, which you can check out, of course, on the Fanzy TCG, the deadzone.wordpress.com page. So anyway, you got the Broly stack. He's wants to rejuvenate. He has drawing on his level 3. Some Disco Pile hate. He's got modifiers on his 3 and 4. And his 2 searches out board cards that are styled if you reveal attacks. So he's trying to reveal cards on all of his levels except 4. So you can play around with those kind of things. I didn't touch or try to focus too heavily on them. Initially, I was going to just do a full 60 card style deck because in my mind, I just kind of wanted to focus on the style synergy more than his name cards. You know, Face Crusher is just so hit and miss depending on how you build the deck, and so is Meteor is a hit to anger. It's preventable. That's kind of like I ended up keeping Eraser Cannon because Eraser Cannon is just so good. Red really lacks like good setup hate. If you're not running like drills for Red Cannon, so I ended up keeping Eraser Cannon for the tech, and otherwise, that and Time is the Worst, totally only non-styles in this deck. I wanted to keep it really, really light. I didn't even run Ball 7 Earth or anything. I think this deck doesn't necessarily want it in combat. It wants to be in combat. It's a combo-y deck, while it's also, it can definitely take its time and build up. So again, we're going to start off with Time is the Worst. Tool has got to be in the deck. Like I said, I was really tempted to just go 3 surprise attack and call it a day, or 60 styles and call it a day, but I think surprise attack's too much of a gimmick, and even in Ruthless, where you can like actually copy it up a bunch, I think it's still just a gimmick, and I think it's just super luck based in my experience and my opinion. Sorry, Dan Dagron, but that's just my take on it. Of course, we got Red Inferno at 2. Remember the whole reveal effect thing. This gives you crit every time you reveal or you banish cards from your hand. Super, super strong, especially when you chain levels of Broly. Now, I've only got one game on this list so far, but I've definitely thrown Red Inferno in a couple different decks that work on the reveals and banishing, and it's especially like Red Broly. This card is like undeniably good. Even like Maj Vegeta, I loved this card way too much because it's just giving that crit is so, so strong. We'll move on to the next card, of course, being Red Blaze. Now, initially I kind of had this at like a 1 or 2. I was kind of looking at it like a 1. I ended up bumping it to 2 because it cut Red Destiny out of here. I wanted the cards. So mainly what I'm thinking is when the setups and the drills are more reflective of my situation on level 2. So the main theme of this deck is trying to push either Energy Beats or Anger Vic, or both at the same time. So what's going to happen is, depending on what cards are in my hand and what my board state looks like, what my opponent is on level 2 is going to change depending on what I'm going to grab with the level 2. So of course, level 2 says Rejuvenate 2 as a power. You can reveal 2 2 attack cards from your hand, and you get to go grab a styled setup or a styled drill and place it to play. So my choices, of course, Blaze is probably the one that I'm going to grab the least. This one is tech if I ever need a clutch crit for a Dragon Ball, or an ally kill, or I need to control someone's anger. It's there, and that's what it's for. Red Burning Rage at 2. Again, this card is for when I want to open up on someone, so I have a lot of life card attacks. I have a lot of attacks in this deck for 1, but my attacks are about 50-50 split, probably like a 40-60 split with between like life card beats, energies, and physicals, and with the majority being the physicals. So Red Burning Rage is there for when I really need some crits, or when I'm just about to like open up a big combat. I think like if I get like a big hand with like a static shot and like an energy attack and 2 more attacks, I'll tutor this with level 2, pop this, level to 3. Now I have a +2 life card modifier for my level 3. I have a +1 modifier for my Burning Rage. All my attacks are unendurable, and now I have level 3 to draw me another card, so I could be ending with landing the level 3 plus 5 other attacks and someone on unendurable. Just super nuts. So that's what that's there for. Red Relaxation, of course. Well, this would be a card that I definitely don't see tutoring a ton on level 2, but if you want to set up something for the next combat, like if it's a pretty dead combat, or somebody timed, or you're not going to break through, or you don't really have the hand to bust through, you might grab a Relaxation in preparation for the next turn, and of course just super strong card. And then we ended out with Red Controlled Anger Drill, and this card is in here in case we see a certain combo card, or you just want some extra rejuve, and you're just kind of stalling out to build up for the next combat. It's kind of one of those things, but this is definitely this card you're really only ever going to really want to grab, in my opinion, if your other targets are gone. Same with the Blaze. You're never really going to grab those two, but you'll grab Controlled Anger Drill if you see Red Counter Kick, because Red Counter Kick says you can level 2 tutor Broly, go grab the Red Controlled Anger Drill, and then you immediately play Red Counter Kick, and Red Counter Kick says raise your 1. You destroy a setup drill or ally you controlled to raise your 1. Red Controlled Anger Drill says when you kill it, when it leaves play, it raises your anger 1. So you can get like a 3-4 anger burst if you bring this drill out by you doing Mastery, and then playing Counter Kick to raise your anger 1, 2, and 3. So now you just did a 4 anger sweep without your opponent being able to interact with it. It's just kind of reminiscent of Goten. So only 2 Controlled Anger Drill because it's only going to happen every once in a while. And you're only going to ever do it if you have Counter Kick in hand. So because of that, we're still going to keep Counter Kick at 3 because it's still an AT4. It's still, if you see it and you're on level 2, you're definitely going to want to go grab Controlled Anger Drill, and it'll just shoot you up to 3 and give you that Anger Vic boost. Now, like I said, we do run Eraser Cannon. It is at a 3 because we do want some good setup hate. It's going to definitely sometimes be tricky if you're on level 2 or you've got these board cards out. Just something to keep in mind. But we don't run a ton. And honestly, what's kind of neat is that Red Eraser Cannon can pop your own Controlled Anger Drill for a nice little anger burst. A 2 anger burst, which is really nice. You raise your anger 1 from this, and of course go banish this drill, giving yourself another anger. 3 anger burst if you did master beforehand. So Red Mule Kick, of course. This card's mainly here just for Wall Breaker and attach card hate. Mainly Wall Breaker more than anything, I suppose. But it does have a little cool combo. If you do banish an attached card that's red style, you get a crit effect, and we do run Inferno. So there have definitely been times with like Modern Jeet and other really ruthless decks where I was playing, like I played an Inferno, I revealed to my Mastery, Ruthless Mastery to get a crit, or with Broly, I revealed with Broly to get a crit, and then I played my Mule Kick after to get a second crit, and it's like double Lord Anger, or I took 2 balls, and it's just super good. Good little combo. But this card, I think, you need to not slack on attached card hate, especially if you're red at least. There's no excuse to not run the Mule Kicks, in my opinion. Even in like Yamcha decks, I think it's still worth running this card at least a 2. Driving Knee, of course, is a 3 because we are going to be looking for Anger Game, and we do have enough cards that cost stages. There'll be decks that are making us lose stages. Well, what happens is this card gives you immediate anger, and you hit and use a crit effect, which with the Master says when you use a crit damage effect, you gain stages. And once you gain those stages with the Driving Knee, you'll get another anger. So this is a 2 anger card. Same thing with Double Strike. Now, granted, this is a little slower, but it's a double use card that gives anger each use. So more 2 anger cards. Tandem Attack. This is in here mostly for like mischievous tech and also people that are just drawing a shitload of cards. You just play this on them and get another card. Super good. Shoulder Grab at a 2, mainly because we do have a decent amount of critical damage effects, as you've seen so far. We can Tutor Blaze, we have Inferno, we have Relaxation, we have Burning Rage plus any critical life card attack, as well as Mule Kick with the Inferno, dealing just critical damage in general. Driving Knee gives you crit damage effect. So Shoulder Grab just kind of adds to it. At 2, I think it's good for now. I don't think, unless it's a meta with a lot of allies and balls, I think 2 is enough right now. Aerial Assault. This is, again, kind of synergizes with that like reveal effect bit of Broly, and so it's kind of a neat, like you can sit there and you can build this up, you can play this card, and you know, do like a Mastery after you've played this card, and then do the reveal with like Broly's 1 through 3, and all of a sudden you do like a 3 anger burst. Again, just more burst. I think it's good too, for the reason that you're not always going to want to sequence around your reveal. You know, you're not always going to want to. Sometimes you're going to want to lead your reveal, or do it at different times in combat. So this isn't always going to be ideal. So it's good too. Control Blast at 2. This is an attack that's a block. It helps you with your reveal effects. It keeps your hands clean. It's a physical block, so it's worth it too, I think. Not an incredible card on its own, but it's a good enough card that it warrants its spot very well, especially in a deck that wants to see attacks. Red Stack Shot at 3, anti-wall breaker. It's a crit card again. Helps you kick out the big damage combats. Between this and Burning Rage, like, your opponent's got to be really careful. You can just drop some big combats out of nowhere on them. And on top of it, hit give you 2 anger, so pretty good. Surrounded Beams at 2. There's enough like little burst anger combinations of like 2, 3, 4 anger that like you can definitely set this card up pretty well to give you the unstoppable. And especially in a turn where like you're level 2 and you enter and you grab Burning Rage and you pop a Burning Rage with this card. I mean, you level from 2 to 3 with this card, and with Burning Rage going, you're doing an 8 life unstoppable, unpreventable attack on your level 3 and your 4. So super, super strong. Left Bolt, of course, is at a 2, mainly because it doesn't give anger, and it's a combo card. You can kind of set this up a little bit because we don't have selective rejuve. It's not as easy as like other styles like Saiyan, but it's still worth running. It's still a good card. It does damage. It's big costy, but it's worth the comboing, especially in those combats where you get the Burning Rage going. Super, super worth it. And even without that, you just draw so many cards. Twin Beams. This is in here over Expunge because this has endurance, and it's not banished after use. Whether or not you can use the parenthetical doesn't really matter. That's not why you're playing this card at all. You're playing this card because it's lower anger 2 with endurance, and a lot of times you'll end up cycling. Like, especially in the matchup where they have a big anger deck, you're going to be cycling this card quite a bit, and it's very well worth running. One of probably the best red energy in the game, in my opinion. Red Energy Blast at 3 because we want the board tech. So again, we have 3 of these and then 3 of the Racer Cannon. So you have all those cards that can kill out, banish allies and drills. You have 3 cards that can banish setups on top of all the crits that we have. We're just trying to really, really make sure the allies and balls have a bad, and anger even to an extent, don't have a good time against us. Red Enhanced Beam. This card's here for damage. It's a good card either way. It does the same kind of banish damage that Left Bolt does, but it's really here for the damage, and it gives anger. Red Duck is in here because the Rejuve theme. We don't have a lot of cards that straight up Rejuve in this deck. The blocks are actually the majority of the cards that actually Rejuve. So once you get off, once you get onto like 3 and 4, you're really, especially 3 more than anything, you're really not going to be triggering that critical damage effect too often. But I think that's okay. I think that's not something. It's not entirely, I think, in my opinion, worth building a bunch of cards that Rejuve around, because most of the red cards that Rejuve, well, any of the other ones I would throw in aren't the hottest in the world. So, like I said, we got Blocking Hand is our other physical block, other than the Tandem Blast. Yeah, that's what it is, right? Tandem Blast. Yeah, Tandem. No, where is it? Energy Blast. No, that's not it. Why can't I find it? Control Blast. So we have Control Blast at 2, of course, 2 Duck, 3 Blocking Hand. It's an anger card, gives you stages. That's all that we need. Brace at 3, and Flee at 2. And Brace is in here, of course, it rejuves. It can activate your level 1 and your level 3 pretty nice, and your 4 pretty nicely. And then Flee, of course, being in here just for more endurance and another block. So the endurance count on this deck is around 30. It's not the most. It doesn't even rejuve a ton. Unless you're in the lower levels like 1 and 2. Really, you're playing this with the idea of that, like, you're going to try to bump up to 2 right away, and then you're going to pick your route. Like, did I draw? Like, do you think you're going to go for damage? Well, then you go and grab Burning Rage at level 2, activate it, and you go off and you smack a couple of crits out, and then you draw level to 3 and draw a card. Or you're trying to go in Mppv, and so you're just chaining all these these physicals, and going to 3 and just keep training attacks to try to level up. Either way, Ascension Mastery aids you in both tasks. It gives you stages, it gives you anger, it gives you the skips to do what you need. So I think it's a good pairing. This is my thoughts. Some of the combos that didn't make it in, of course, were Red Bribe with Dragon Balls. I thought was a neat combo. I was thinking running a couple of Dragon Balls, not a full set, but like Dragon Balls like 5 and 3 at least, maybe even 4 would be neat. Because you could, what's nice is on the Broly 2 is, again, it's kind of like with the Burning Rage and the Controlled Anger Drill. It's like maybe you don't have the cards that combo with them, so you don't tutor it. You go tutor, let's say you have like Ball 3 out or Ball 5 out. Okay, level 2 Broly, I go tutor Bribe. Oh, now I have, Red Bribe. Now I have another Ball 3, essentially. Just kind of thoughts like that. That was something I kind of considered, but it's just too muddy. Again, a big thing with Broly is you want to keep your ratios clean. You want to be able to make sure that you can always do the reveal with your level 1, 2, and your 3 for their full effects. So this is just my initial thoughts. I've played one game. I think I played one game on this. I played 2 games on this deck. 2 or 3, actually. I like it. It's cool. I'll play some more with it, get a better idea. There's some cards I could definitely float. But for right now, I actually like a lot of the numbers. I think you should give this deck a try if you're looking for something different to try out. I think this is maybe like a tier. This is like definitely a tier 3 right now. Would I say tier 2? Maybe if you tuned this really well, you could make it a tier 2. Even then, I think for the most part, it's hard to build red energy and not be Yamcha 18 because they just do their job so damn well. And, Broly kind of competes with Pycon. He's more action heavy than Pycon, which is great. But he doesn't have access to, like, Heroic Dashing Punch, which I suppose isn't the biggest deal in the world, but just things to think about, I guess. Either way, cool deck. Thank you to Paul for suggesting it to me. Hopefully you like my build. Maybe you don't. If you have any suggestions, as always, I'll be hosting Retro. Find me. You can always post on the YouTube channel in the comments if there's anything that you want to see built, and I'll try to get around to it. Anyway, guys, take it easy. Peace.